If you don't know, now you know. Welcome back to hashtag J Podcast. And if you have seen the season 2 of Heartstopper, damn. It was a really good series. I'm definitely going to give my review. I just want to take another look at the last 2 episodes just to get a few more notes. Because let me tell you something. My first go round, I watched it like a true faithful fan. Okay. No notes. Like, I wanted the full on experience. So I had me a nice little mini spread, a few libations, and I had me a good old time watching the season. So that's what I do. If it's like a really good series that I like to enjoy my first watch, and then I'll go back in a second time, and that's when I'll do my notes. So I've been doing that since Sunday. So I got the last 2 episodes left because I had to watch other series as well. So the reason why I wanted to have this video, like I made this video and want to have this chat because Collider popped up in my Google search, and honestly, this actually caught my attention. Because watching the series, I can kind of see where someone can really feel like his character was rather pointless. So I was like, you know what? I want to discuss this on a video because the newsletter does point out a few things, and I'm truly a devil's advocate, so I can see 50-50 of all sides. And plus, this is a series. Everybody has their own opinions and their own likes, loves, and dislikes when it comes to the series. You know, you have a few people that you do want to see, and there's a few people that you don't want to see. You're just like, well, what the hell are they there for? I kind of didn't get that feeling from this series, but that's just me. But I can understand where this newsletter was coming from. So I wanted to have this open dialogue with you guys just to, let's see. Let's see if you agree or disagree. Or if these were a few of your thoughts surrounding around the character Ben. All right. So basically, Collider newsletter stated that Ben's story was completely unsatisfying and unnecessary. Let's see. So this part, they basically break down what, his role in season 1, which is basically, that Ben is Charlie's first logical type of, boyfriend experience. And he's very toxic and he's mean to Charlie. He basically aids to the bullying that Charlie kind of experienced the year before last, just in a more relationship type toxic type of way. He does really mean things to Charlie, and when Charlie meets Nick, of course, he basically, changes, and Ben is thrown to the left and he's all about Nick. So at the ending of season 1, when they have sports day and Charlie does the race for Tao, which he beats Ben in the race, Charlie basically tells Ben to leave him alone. They have an exchange of dialogue where at the end, you really do think that that's kind of the end of Ben's character, because it's like Charlie standing up to a constant bully that was bullying him throughout season 1. Because that's kind of what Ben is. He's like Charlie's bully. Now, when it comes into season 2, now we're going to see their perspective. So in season 2, basically, Ben is playing the role of someone who is low-key heartbroken and misses Charlie, but he's still fucking toxic and don't even know how to project himself. So he's basically the couple's little stalker, aka little hater, and he does a lot of shit. But it's like it's like little sporadic lots of shit. Like it's like you don't see him a lot, but the moments when you do see him, he does the most. If I can basically sum it up to that. So, Collider's perspective on Ben's role on season 2, they stated in the inclusion of Ben in Heartstopper season 2 is a departure from the graphic novel, where he does disappear, and we are wishing that where the case for the show too. We're wishing that I dear God. Throughout the season, Ben watches Nick and Charlie advance their relationship, rueful over how he lost Charlie. Plus, he's bitter that Charlie is with Nick at all instead of him. As Ben sees no difference between himself and Nick because this new romance is being kept a secret as well, though we know it's because Nick is working on coming out while Ben never planned to come out. There's a heavy there's a heavy rivalry between Nick and Ben in the early episodes, especially as Ben begins to date and use Nick's friend Imogene. And then they are sat next to one another for their weeks. Oh yeah, of GCSE exams preparation, where Ben constantly tries to provoke Nick and gets them both into trouble. But throughout it all, including the trip to Paris, Ben watches Nick and Charlie enviously, constantly bringing down the mood, proving himself a terrible human being and putting Imogene through hell as he doesn't care about her whatsoever. Oh, okay. In the penultimate episode of Heartstopper Season 2, Ben follows Charlie to Elle's art exhibition. What is wrong with me today? I'm tired. Exhibition at the Lambert School. Ambushing him and Nick on their way out, he makes a grand declaration that he's sorry, but perfectly in character, places the blame on everyone else for what he's done, like the fact that his parents will never accept his coming out. This falls flat for a couple of reasons. First, this moment comes out of nowhere. Nothing in Ben's story builds up to this, as he has practically no development whatsoever from the pilot episode to this. He's the same selfish, miserable person he always was. Second, while it's nice to see Charlie tell Ben off for how he so completely and severely mistreated him during their relationship, Charlie doesn't gain anything from the interaction. It doesn't make him feel better. It's just more trauma that the series, given its rather lighthearted tone, isn't properly prepared to address moving forward. At the end of the day, the only thing that benefits to this that Ben tells Charlie he's transferring to another school for the next term, and Charlie won't have to see him again. Hopefully, this is the first time he's been honest. They do continue. Yes, it's great to see Nick stand up for Charlie and prove how much he understands Charlie, including how much the relationship with Ben hurt him. However, not enough so that Nick and Ben needed to have so many scenes together. The story with Imogene is also difficult to reconcile with, slightly shifting our opinions of Nick. He did try to warn Imogene away from Ben, but not very hard. Considering Nick is aware of how Ben sexually assaulted Charlie, it feels like he should have done more. But this brings the story into a morally more murky gray area. Is it wrong to out Ben while trying to protect Imogene? In a way, it feels like the only reason Nick didn't is that there was a threat of Ben outing Nick too. In short, the entire situation was difficult to watch. Nothing involving Ben came to any satisfactory end. Okay. Well, let's see. Well, let's get into. I'm gonna get into the points that they made in the beginning. Um, all right. Whew, okay. I mean, they do state some points. Like I said, everybody's entitled to their opinion. Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna go back up. You see me? This is just hard. All right. So I personally agree. Kind of agree with what they're saying. You know, I get how somebody else can. I get how somebody else can have that perspective depending on how you view Ben. So I can agree if you know what your perspective was of the series and how you view Ben's character. And if Ben's character was a lot for you to take, this kind of would have been your perspective. So I agree with you on that one. For me personally, I didn't find Ben's character pointless. When it came to Ben, for me, my take on the series, I found Ben to be the representation of what Charlie dealt with, but in a physical form. Like, even though you do watch the series and they do graphic imitations of, like, the students bullying them, you see it a few times with Charlie, and you actually see it a few times with Nick, especially when he tries to tell his friends at the bonfire party thing after their exams. He experienced it. So outside of that, I feel like Ben was the human form of the bullying. If you notice in this season, Harry is not really bothering Charlie in the manner he did the first season. A lot has happened. He got into a fight with his best friend, and as the season plays on, the females, like the girls from the girls' school, the all-girls school, don't really want to mess with Harry either because he's labeled as a homophobe. So it's like a lot that happened within the first season that carries on to the second season, which is people's perspective of other characters. And that plays a major role on how things happen in season 2. So I feel like Ben's character was basically the person who don't recognize the room, like the joke is over, it's time to grow up, it's time to move on. And because he was battling with his sexuality, I think that's what he represents as well. He represents someone who battled with their sexuality, but not in a good way, like in the way Nick's coming out was. Because the difference I think they're trying to project is Nick has a supportive mother. And eventually you find out that his father wasn't bad when he finds out. His father looked like he was more hurt that his child didn't give a damn whether he cared or not. So I think what would have changed the perspective is if we would have had a little interaction of Ben's family to get an idea of the fact, like, yeah, he couldn't come out to that family, like, no wonder why he's a rude ass. Like, probably when they did like the parent teachers, it could have been like a little incident where Charlie family bumps up against his family, and just the way his family comes off, if they knew that Charlie's like the open gay kid in the school. So maybe that would have worked. Maybe that would have helped it to that perspective. But to me, Nick character was it was fine. To, like I said, he represents to me Charlie's bullying, because he antagonized the both of them. He basically puts a level of insecurities into Nick because he keeps telling Nick that they're just alike, which you know from the first season. That's one of Nick's fears when it comes to Charlie. He doesn't want to treat Charlie or have Charlie feel the way Ben made him feel. And then on top of that, he keeps coming back in Charlie's life. Like, basically saying how he came out to Nick and said he wanted to be with him, and that he really liked Charlie, and that, he felt like Nick was the reason why him and Charlie didn't work. because he felt like Nick was putting a bug in his ear. And it's like, no, you and Charlie didn't work because of you. You were toxic. You were toxic, honey. But I feel like Ben's character, was it needed? I don't know. I mean, yeah, no, I don't know. But I feel like he represented unfinished business. Um, Apparently his character wasn't done. And him at the end telling Charlie that he did really like him, and how he did care for him, he just wish he would have did it better. And Charlie's reaction to him that you were not a good boyfriend, period, and it was not no moments to cherish. It puts a lot in perspective for the character of, for Ben's character, because it's like, you got a lot to work on, honey. He was living in a delusion for a good portion of season 2, thinking that the little parts when he wasn't mean to Charlie, and I guess that's when Charlie smiled and they were kissing, he held on to those moments like those were important moments to him, to where for Charlie they were not. Ben represented Ben represented bad feelings, bullying, and as you can see, the more Ben is brought up and his encounters with Ben triggers a lot of things within Charlie, which we're going to talk about when we review this season 2. But he does trigger a lot of things in Charlie that's really bad. So I feel like his character sheds light on things that Charlie experienced that season 1 didn't shed light on and didn't talk about. And like the newsletter stated, they did deviate from the novels because the novel technically isn't finished. I don't think the novels are finished. So there was no chapters to really, give it an ending. I think they just went along with it, and they made it a thing. And I think they did an amazing job. As far as, let's see. Let's see. Okay. As far as his whole relationship with Emma Jean, right? I feel like Emma Jean, Ben dating Emma Jean is part of Emma Jean's story. That's where I feel that, because Ben, to me, is Emma Jean's last straw with dealing with men. If you know what I'm saying. If you've seen the season, Ben was Emma Jean's last straw. It's supposed to be like Emma Jean was technically attracted to guys who kind of wasn't attracted to her. Like, she was attracted to Nick, and come to find out, he's in love with Charlie. Like, he's with Charlie. And then she gets with Ben, but deep down inside, she know for a fact Ben used to mess with Charlie, and he did mean things to Charlie. And all the dudes, weird, but all the dudes, which is just 2 that we know, that are talked about on the series, it always revert back to Charlie. So when you watch season 2, I feel like Ben was Emma Jean's final straw, and also and help Emma Jean to mature more when it comes to, as far as dealing with the LGBTQ community, because the first season she was just a little, she said weird shit. But I feel like the fact that Nick is a part of the community and she really cares about her and Nick's friendship. Her and Nick's friendship is very important to her. So it's her navigating how to be, as she say, an ally to the community. And I think that's where Ben's, to me personally, Ben's character signifies Imogene's last damn straw. That's just my opinion. And also, Imogene basically, to me, backs Ben in a corner when she blasts him at that dinner and asks why he's so obsessed with Charlie, and why is everything about Charlie. I think that was it was important because it actually let Nick and Charlie know, like, listen, it's like when they realized how bad it was, because you got to think about it, their perspective is just dealing with Ben on their end, the little encounters. So to hear Emma Jean say something about it, it brings shed light that he's really caught up in his feelings to the point that other people can notice he's obsessed with the openly gay kid at their school. So these are just a few perspectives on where I feel that his character wasn't needed. I mean, was needed. Oh my God. It's crazy. This is how I need to go to bed, but we're going to make these videos. But to me, I guess, that's where his character was needed in hindsight. And his character basically were his character was basically the transition, or the how you look, the catapult to like the next phase of a few of these characters. If you notice, him antagonizing Nick and antagonizing Charlie brought out a lot of things that were buried deep, especially with Charlie, that he never talked about, not even with Tao and his best friends. So I feel that's where Ben character was important. He helped open Pandora's box on a few things in the series. So let's hear their ending points. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. So that's the last thing I said. All right. So they stated Ben's entire presence in Heartstopper season 2 feels meaningless and unnecessary. We didn't need to deal with the complexities in the situation between Nick and Ben whatsoever. We didn't need to watch Charlie be further traumatized by a boy that already so brutally shifted his perspective of himself, what it means to be in a relationship. In the end, Ben gets away scot-free for all the damage he has caused, leaving us to ponder what the point was. He doesn't face the music about who he is or what he's done, and has no development whatsoever to predict what kind of person he could become after learning from this experience. Simply put, Ben's continued presence dragged down and tainted an otherwise enjoyable and well-written season. So honestly, I can see how that person see it, because at the end, he does he arrives to Al's exhibition when Nick and Charlie are leaving, and he basically comes out and tell Charlie that he really liked him, and basically he enjoyed the little good times that they did have. And he said it in a manner as if he was trying to win Charlie back. And that's when Charlie put him in his place. But I can see where they feel like he basically, yeah, he messed Charlie. He really does mess Charlie up. Because when you watch season 1, even though it's enjoyable and it's heartfelt, what Charlie comes out with in season 2, you kind of get an idea of that happening in season 1. just off of how when Ben said certain things to him, Charlie is like literally caved in, like as if he's getting pushed into a dark corner. So what he comes out with season 2, I'm not really surprised about it. I don't know what the hell is wrong with me. Maybe because I'm tired and my allergies. So bear with me in the way I'm saying Charlie, because it feel like it's a struggle. But anyway, if you know how it's been in New York, you will understand. My allergies are through the roof, but I'm here. Sorry to get off topic, but how it ends is, they exchange those words, and then Ben tells him that he's transferring to another school, and it's just like he's gone, like he walks off, and he's just done. So I can see where they come off. I can see how it comes off that way to a viewer, but with Ben leaving, I feel like Ben opened the door for the next season's battles. And the next season battles is a little bit, it's gonna teeter on things that I thought myself, to a point that this series was not gonna touch on it. But when I watched season 1, you know how you have like a perspective, like, it's crazy if they do that. But then it's like, this is a little light-hearted series, so they may not touch on that subject. And when I saw that they touched on that subject, I'm like, as much as we love a good, enjoyable, light-hearted series, when it comes to these type of series, I think that a lot of writers want to really reach out to the viewers who identify with these characters. And honestly, not everything is always, sugar plums and fairies. And I think they want to depict these hard times and give suggestions and narratives to help individuals navigate through these struggles in hindsight. That's just my perspective. Could be wrong, but it's just my perspective on why his character was a part of the series. But I can understand why people were not really a big fan of, his character, because he was a dick. I'm not even gonna lie to you. He was a dick. Every time he opened his mouth, it was just like, dear God, who hurt you? Who hurt you? It was it was out there. But I really wanted to talk about this because when I saw this, I was like, oh wow. Like, something to talk about. Do y'all really think, Ben's character was needed? I mean, the series was amazing. I mean, I like Ben's character being in there now that I've seen it. Because if you saw my reaction to the series, I questioned what was the whole point of bringing him back. I'm not even going to lie to you. When I saw the series, I said, oh, I thought we was done with him in season 1. Really, how it was, you thought he was done. But if you pay attention to the series, like if you pay attention to it, you really wouldn't have been done with Ben, because the series picks up the next day after Charlie and Nick's date. And Ben didn't transfer schools at the end of season 1. So season 2 literally picks up where season 1 left off. The next day after, and boom, boom, boom. They're still in the same term they were in season 1. They pick up the next day. Boom. So I think that's another reason why you see Ben, because it wasn't like a season 2 like months later or a year later. It's literally the next day. So it's just like you can't make him disappear, because technically he's still in the school in the season 1. So that also could be the reason why you see Ben as well too, because that's how they did it. So I'm assuming when we get season 3, it's the next day after prom. So that's just my assumption, or they maybe do, months later. And the reason why I feel like Ben's character got a departure, because I feel like Nick's older brother, who is the older Dick, the new Dick to the series, is going to basically pick up the baggage that Ben left off, and he's gonna basically, to me, be more of an ass for Nick. But he does trigger Charlie, because when he says, I want to meet the boy that turned my brother gay, that I know that one hit Charlie bad, because it was just like he really had his hopes high that he would be able to defend Nick. In some cases, the question is, do he defend Nick? We will talk about it when we discuss the series. But like always, I mean, guys, if you love this discussion, and also drop comments below, tell me your perspective on Ben's character. Do you feel Ben's character was needed? Do you feel that he gave some type of gumption, some type of oomph to the series? I mean, to the season, to season 2? Let us know. I mean, to me, he was, honestly, I enjoyed Ben's character being on here, honestly, because he, to me, was a physical form of the hate that him and Nick eventually will be facing at some point in time. Because as you see how Nick's brother responds to him, finding out that his brother's bisexual, and his brother don't even recognize him as being bisexual. So it's a lot. Like, it's a lot of things that season 2 is really like opening up. Like, season 3 is just like, oh my God. Woo! I don't even know what season 3 gonna be like. Jesus Christ, have mercy. But it raised a lot of questions. And yeah, drop your comment below. Let us know. How did you guys feel about Ben's character? Was it needed? Was it not needed? I mean, the season was bomb.com to me. But drop your comments below. Let us know, how you felt. And like always, if you guys like, or love the video, don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe, or hit the notification bell to know when we upload new videos. And until next time, later, guys.